The year was the mid-19th century. Yola, the flourishing capital of Adamawa, stood as a center of trade and culture in the Fulani Empire. The city's market was filled with merchants selling embroidered fabrics, brass jewelry, and finely woven mats. The air smelled of roasted groundnuts, sizzling meat, and the sweet fragrance of hibiscus tea. But peace was fragile. The Sokoto Caliphate, hungry for expansion, had already swallowed neighboring lands. Their armies, disciplined and well-armed, loomed like a storm on the horizon. For years, the warriors of Yola fought bravely, but the endless battles had taken their toll. Many men lay buried beneath the sun-scorched earth, and whispers of surrender crept into the city. But just when all seemed lost, an unexpected force rose. Women, bound not by weakness, but by an unshakable will to protect their homeland. Yola was not just a city, it was their home, their children's future, their ancestors' legacy, and they would rather die than let it fall. Before we begin this incredible story of bravery and resilience, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with others who need to hear the untold stories of African history. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories to life. And don't forget to leave a comment. Let us know what you think about these fearless women warriors. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden rays over the walled city. Inside the palace courtyard, the elders sat on intricately carved wooden stools, their robes flowing around them as they debated. Before them stood Amina Barde, her eyes ablaze with defiance. "If the men can no longer fight," she declared, "then we, the women of Yola, shall take up arms." Gasps filled the courtyard. Women in battle? It was unheard of, but Amina did not wait for permission. That night, she walked through the dimly lit streets, her steps firm and unwavering. She gathered the widows, the daughters, and the wives of fallen warriors. "We will train," she told them. "We will fight, and we will not let Yola fall." Among them was Zainabu the Falcon, a skilled archer whose husband had been slain in an ambush. She stood by the river at dawn, her fingers tightening around her bow. Every arrow she shot was aimed at the memory of her loss. Her grief turned into precision. There was Hauwa the Guardian, once a stable master, now leading the cavalry. She spent long hours whispering to the horses, guiding them with the same care she had given them in peacetime. But now their hooves would not tread on peaceful paths. They would charge into war. And Fatima the strategist, a woman who had studied warfare in secret, her fingers tracing the maps late at night, whispering the names of enemy commanders as though summoning spirits. For months, they trained in the shadows, learning to wield swords, perfecting archery, and mastering the art of mounted combat. Their hands bled, their bodies ached, but they did not stop. What started as whispers of rebellion soon turned into roars of defiance. They did not fight for power or recognition. They fought for survival. The Sokoto invaders, expecting little resistance, sent a force to capture Yola with ease. Their cavalry rode in, their banners fluttering against the sky. The leader of the charge smirked, already tasting victory. When they arrived at the city gates, they were met with a sight that shook them to the core. Rows of women, armed and unafraid, standing ready for battle. The invaders laughed. "Women, this will be over before sunset." But they were wrong. Zainabu, perched atop a watchtower, let loose the first arrow. It found its mark, piercing the throat of an enemy commander. The battlefield erupted into chaos. Amina and Hauwa led a cavalry charge, the spears flashing under the burning sun. The sound of galloping hooves filled the air as the women's war cries echoed across the plains. Fatima's tactics turned the enemy's arrogance against them, leading them into traps where they were surrounded and cut down. The Sokoto warriors, humiliated and broken, fled the battlefield. Yola had won, but the war was not over. News of the defeat spread quickly. The Sokoto Caliphate would not accept humiliation at the hands of women. They returned, this time with an army 3 times larger, led by a ruthless warlord named Ibrahim Dan Tofa. Faced with overwhelming numbers, the women of Yola did not waver, but this battle would test them like never before. For 3 days, the battle raged. The women fought with everything they had, but the enemy forces were relentless. Fatima devised a desperate strategy, a night raid to assassinate Ibrahim Dan Tofa in his own camp. Amina, Zainabu, and a handful of warriors slipped through enemy lines, their faces painted with the markings of war. The flickering torchlight cast long shadows as they moved between tents. They found Ibrahim Dantofa in his tent, feasting, certain of his victory. The smell of roasted goat and millet beer filled the air. With a single swift movement, Amina struck him down. The warlord's guards awoke to chaos, but it was too late. The women vanished into the darkness, leaving behind only fire and fear. Without their leader, the Sokoto forces fell into disarray. At dawn, Yola's warriors struck the final blow, sending the invaders retreating into the wilderness. They had defied an empire. Zainabu, struck by an enemy sword, took her last breath in Amina's arms. Her blood soaked into the sand, joining the spirits of those who had fallen before her. Hauwa, though wounded, took charge of the next generation of warriors. "The blood we shed today will be remembered," she vowed. "Our daughters will know that Yola stood, not because of kings, but because of women who refused to kneel." But Fatima, the strategist, knew their fight was not yet over. The Caliphate would return. And so, she devised a final plan, not for war, but for legacy. She sent messengers across Adamawa, spreading the tale of Yola's warrior women, ensuring their legend would live on even when history tried to forget them. Their story would not be erased. The Sokoto Caliphate never fully conquered Yola. The spirit of its warriors lived on, passed from mother to daughter, from elder to child. Centuries later, their story still whispers through the wind, carried by the descendants of those who stood and fought. This is not just the story of Yola, it is the story of courage, of defiance, of women who became legends. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Share it, keep their legacy alive, and subscribe for more untold African legends.